I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I didn't do fucking shit!
Welcome everybody back to Sporting with Smitty. I am your host, Smitty. And boy, what an enjoyable game that was. Patriots lose to the New York Giants 10-7 to fall to 2-9 on the season, their worst 11-game start since 1993 when they were 1-10. And that's with a rookie quarterback, Drew Bledsoe, and first-year coach for the Patriots that year, which was Bill Parcells, along with first-year owner Robert Kraft. So I'm going to go one by one, really just each phase of the game. So, starting with the offense, this wonderful offense that us New England fans now are having to really get used to now due to the fact that we swung and missed on a quarterback. We swung and missed and struck out and really fell on our ass and then our face. I mean, just a horrific game for Mac Jones. Honestly, I mean, each week you're thinking to yourself, boy, could it really get worse than this? And he manages to do it. He manages to figure out a way to make it even worse than the week prior. I thought that interception against Indy was just awful. And then before that, I thought the interception against the Raiders was awful. I mean, he went back-to-back today with just horrible interceptions that really just make you want to rip your eyeballs out of their sockets. Like, it's honestly, truly unreal how much this kid has fallen off. I mean, we went from first seed in the AFC back in 2021, going into the bye week after a really big win in Buffalo when we threw the ball 3 times. Ever since then, it has been unbelievably downhill. And bye week and then the Colts disaster on Thursday night, shortly before Christmas, I believe. And then after that, it was just, it's ever since then, something about him, he has not been right ever since. I mean, he's already had all the pressure of literally replacing the greatest of all time. And I don't want to hear crap in the comments or see anything that says that it's not, because Brady is the greatest of all time. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But, I mean, you knew he was going to get heavily criticized no matter if he had a bad game because of who he was replacing, even though there was a bridge year with Cam Newton. But this has just been terrible. He has been horrible, utterly horrible. And I'm honestly shocked that, I mean, I don't know what Bill sees. I don't know what both Bills, Bill O'Brien and Bill Belichick, I don't know what they see, but I don't know how you're looking at this. After the first interception where you threw in a clean pocket off your back foot into triple coverage and managed to overthrow and throw it right to the safety, I don't know how at that very moment you're not thinking to yourself, he's done. We got to pull him. And then when he gets a drive together and goes down the field, it's like he immediately just, he had PTSD or something like that. I don't know. I'm not trying to mock PTSD. But he had some kind of just, he got spooked and just tossed it without even looking at who was in front of him. And it was probably the worst interception to date. Worse than the one he had in the first quarter, again, where he overthrew the triple coverage and threw it right into the safety's hands, and worse than the horrible underthrow against Indianapolis, worse than the ridiculous overthrow against Vegas. I mean, I don't know what's going on. He's lost all of his confidence, and he should not be on the field. He should not be on the field. He is done, and he should be done. And the only reason why he is starting from here on out is because we are tanking for that pick. I mean, 12 for 21, 89 yards and 2 picks. QBR was 7.2. I mean, just horrible. Bailey Zappi came in, and he went he immediately drove him down the field and scored a touchdown. Problem is, after that, the Giants' defense adjusted because the majority of those pass plays that he had in the pocket when he came onto the field were behind the sticks. They were great plays by Pop Douglas. I believe Juju even got a nice catch in there. There was a nice play by Ramondre, I believe. So, yeah, there was a nice play by Ramondre. So I'm looking at this and I'm just like, okay, what's going to happen when they adjust and they lock up that part of the field? What's going to happen when he has to throw downfield? Well, we saw it. An interception. A terrible interception. And he almost threw an interception on the last drive before the missed kick. The quarterback play is as worse as it's ever been in my lifetime. I know, I've been spoiled. I've been spoiled with 20 years of greatness. I even saw decent quarterback play with Matt Castle, Jimmy G, Jacoby Brissett. I mean, I've seen some greatness. I've seen some greatness. But damn, this has got to be some of the worst quarterback play. This has to be one of the worst offenses in Patriot history. And thinking about it, there have been some horrible Patriot teams before my time, immediately going back to the early 90s, so 1990 under Rod Rust, where there were 3 quarterbacks on the depth chart, from an old Steve Grogan to a terrible Mark Wilson, and then to a young Tommy Hodson who was thrown into the fire. Or going back to 1981, where I believe it was also Steve Grogan. I'm not sure if he was hurt that year, where New England went 2-14, and it was either Matt Cavanaugh or Steve Grogan. So, honestly, this has to be one of the worst offenses in team history by far. The only reason this team has 2 wins, and honestly isn't probably winless or one of the worst teams in NFL history, is because of a Bill Belichick defense. Period. And going right into it, actually, I do want to give props to Ramondre Stevenson. He had a great game today. 21 carries for 98 yards. He had that touchdown in the second half to tie the game. Zeke, a decent game for him. 9 carries, 46 yards. There's a couple plays there where he could have broke out, but just not good. Great tackling by the Giants defense kind of prevented any of that. Pop Douglas was Pop Douglas. He was making plays again. I mean, again. Still, I mean, the quarterback play, going back at it, that's the big thing for me, and it's been terrible. It was terrible today. Mac was horrible. He was horrible. He was horrible. Missing guys. And not just missing them, overthrowing them by 10 feet. Like, man, I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, I was laughing at some point. I'm just like, this is hilarious of how horrible it is. It really is. But going to the defense, the defensive side of the ball, they were fantastic. I mean, they were bringing pressure to the quarterback. Granted, I mean, you're looking at a Giants team that I think was hampered by injuries on their offensive line. So, I mean, yeah, I guess you could take that into consideration. The fact that, okay, we were able to get pressure on the quarterback. I think we had 6 sacks today, if I'm not mistaken. 6 sacks. So really just and 7 tackles for losses. We were able to really stop their run game. Our run defense is probably the best part about this team, honestly. Outside of that, it's really either terrible or meh. And our pass defense was meh. There are plays where, I mean, it's just, honestly, I don't want to credit the secondary too much, only because it was really just the defensive line bringing pressure and the linebacker bringing pressure off the edge, that forcing Tommy DeVito out of the pocket or just having him throw it away or him just taking a sack. I mean, outside of that, the secondary didn't really need to do much outside of tackling in the open field. J.C. Jackson, he had a couple of bad plays where he let that young kid Hyatt, I think is his name, Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee. He let him get behind him, and he had a couple of big catches. I mean, 6 targets, 5 catches, 109 yards for Hyatt against our defense. He was by far their best target today. But But I mean, again, the best part of this defense is the run defense, and I mean, again, stopping. I know Saquon has had injuries all year, but still, it's Saquon Barkley. He's still one of the best runners in football. So I mean, holding a guy to 3.8 yards a carry, still top notch defense. Going into special teams, that is another part of this team that is an utter and complete disaster in every way. It's honestly a complete and utter disaster. From the kicking, actually, I don't want to say it's a complete disaster. Behringer had a couple of good punts today. He had a lot of good punts today that was putting the Giants in a situation to where they really had to go. They had to go 90 yards to put any points on the board or get a touchdown. Definitely had to go 60 yards to at least get a field goal. So, again, our punt game a lot better, I would say. But outside of that, the kicking game is a mess. Ryland he's yikes. I mean, I don't want to make any comparisons here, but yes, Vinatieri struggled his rookie year. I don't know if any older Patriot fans remember that he was almost cut by Parcells because his injury. I mean, he lost a game off a missed kick due to just, I don't know, jitters, I guess. But I know, obviously, I'm not trying to make comparisons to Vinatieri, but I mean, Ryland, he's really struggling. He's really struggling, and it's honestly just, it's honestly, I kind of feel bad for the kid, but also I'm just like, come on, man, you're in the NFL, and Ryland this year, he is 12 for 18, kicking the ball, and that's not going to cut it. Especially when you have an offense that's really struggling to get into the end zone. You need a reliable kicker where they are able to at least put some points on the board to force some kind of pressure, or at least give the defense some kind of like, hey, okay, we got some support here. But unfortunately, we just don't have that. We don't have that right now. And I mean, I kind of laughed at the beginning of the season when we traded Nick Folk to Tennessee for late round pick. I was thinking, boy, we really traded a 38-year-old kicker for a pick. That's, I mean, hey, what a steal. Yeah, I might have swung and missed on that one, but because just looking at this team, I mean, he's missed kicks, I think, in 3 straight games, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, 35 yards is a 35-yard kick. So, I mean, I've obviously never been in a situation in a type of where you're basically kicking these big kicks to where you need to make them, and but I mean, let's just face it, Chad Ryland. I mean, he missed this kick. Obviously, would have forced the game into overtime. Who knows what would have happened? Looking at the Colts game where he missed a gimme of a kick. I mean, I think it was inside of 30 yards. He missed that kick, which I mean, like thinking back, it would have probably been 10-9. Which, hey, we wouldn't have gone to that boneheaded fake spike play that ended up into the ball where it ended up into a Colts team meeting, as Rich Eisen said on the broadcast. I mean, who knows, we're maybe still a crappy 4-7, but right now we're a disastrous 2-9. So, I mean, you never know. But again, the special teams is a mess, though. I mean, at some point, you just gotta, our punt return is just abysmal. It really is. And I mean, if the ball is not heading outside, if you see the ball and it's going anywhere near inside of the 20, just let it go. Let it go. Because there's no need to return it, because you're not even going to reach the 20. These guys barely reach the 20. So, another thing that probably needs to change after this season. But overall, again, I'm just, it's not a good year. It's definitely the worst year I've ever seen as a Patriot fan. Again, spoiled. So, many people would think I deserve it, but hey, oh well. Next week, game against the 4-7 Chargers. They're trying to keep their playoff hopes alive after just a really rough loss tonight at home against the Ravens. Justin Herbert, he has never beaten Bill Belichick in 2 starts. He is some big losses. I remember the first game in 2020 in his rookie year where I think it was we put up a 50 burger on him. And then in 2021, we forced some timely turnovers down the stretch, including a pick six, I think, from J.C. Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, to put us over the top in that game and really get people talking about the Patriots again. But, I mean, completely different situation now. The Chargers are trying to play for their playoff lives, and the Patriots are playing for a top first overall pick. So, we will tell if Mac Jones is the starting quarterback Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. my time. If he's the starting quarterback of that game, we know we're not trying to win. Period. Because I don't know how these coaches and this coaching staff is looking at Mac Jones and saying, okay, this is our guy. And I know people are going to say, I don't know if anybody watches the Patriots post-game report. I remember hearing, I think it was Paul Perillo saying, oh, but, I mean, Zappy's not going to come in and he's not going to do this. You're not going to see anything from a drive or this, and that. And I'm thinking to myself, why not? We are a team. And our coaching staff is a group of guys who has always stressed the fact of situational football and adjusting to the situation and preparing for the situation. So, of all the situations we've prepared for in the last 20 years under this coaching staff, were we not prepared for this one? So, I don't want to hear that excuse, because this team and this coach has stressed preparational football and situational football for the last 20 years. But looking ahead, I'm seeing the Chargers, the Steelers in Pittsburgh on Thursday night. A Monday night game, for some reason. A Monday night game against Kansas City. Yikes. Then it looks to be a Saturday afternoon game against Denver. Denver is on fire right now. I mean, 5 straight wins for them. Good on them. So they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot, and depending on how things are going with Kansas City, I mean, maybe even a spot for the division. Who knows? The Bills, who are also fighting for a playoff spot, and after their loss to the Eagles today, and their disappointing loss to the Eagles today in Philly, and then finishing it off at home against the Jets in what could be Bill Belichick's final game coaching the New England Patriots. I don't see any, I honestly, maybe against the Jets, but I don't see any wins coming from this schedule. I don't see any wins. I thought maybe Pittsburgh, but now that Matt Canada was fired, I'm thinking, yep, we're losing that one, because Matt Canada was one of the worst offensive coordinators in football. He was worse than Matt Patricia last year, and that says something. But, I mean, now you don't know. Now I'm looking at this schedule, and I maybe see one more win out of this entire schedule, and a 3-14 season. Maybe even a 2-15 season. Who knows? But I have no faith in this offense. This is one of the worst offenses, if not the worst offense in football. They cannot move the ball down the field consistently. They can't even move the ball down the field. Let's be honest. Everything that they have, their entire playbook, is behind the sticks. They cannot throw because Mac Jones does not have that ability. And as you see below, crossing the screen right now, I said Mac Jones is done in New England. I think he is done in New England. There's no way he comes back from this. It's over. It is over. And now, New England, as a New England fans, I'm looking forward to Red Sox baseball, Celtics basketball, Bruins hockey, and then finally the draft in April, which I'm going to go right into as my honestly for me, this draft, in my opinion, is the most important draft in New England Patriots history. This draft needs to go perfect if we are going to recover. We cannot miss. We cannot miss on the quarterback position. We cannot miss. And this is one of the most talent-rich drafts at the quarterback position in a while. I know people said in 2020 or 2021 when it had Mac Jones, Zach Wilson for some ungodly reason, Trevor Lawrence. Realistically, it was just Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields who had the max talent. Or really, just realistically, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence was the best quarterback prospect since Peyton in '98. So, in this draft here, you're looking at Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Drake May, Michael Penix Jr., Jaden Daniels, and I believe not Drake May. There's one more. Anyway, but for me, if I'm the GM, I'm first, due to how deep this draft is when it comes to quarterbacks, because I highly doubt all these guys are going to be leaving in the first round. So you're going to have a couple of guys that are definitely going to be available in the second round. So first overall pick, if we were the first team picking in this year's draft, I am taking Marvin Harrison Jr. Period. Because the one thing we are lacking and have lacked really for the last 4 or 5 years, actually 6 years, maybe since 2017, is skill players. Actually 2018. Skill players. Players at the skilled positions. We need a receiver that could make big plays and have big play capabilities. We only have one guy that has that any kind of capability. We don't use him because we don't have a quarterback that has that capability to throw downfield, and that's Pop Douglas. So I'm looking at Marvin Harrison Jr. as the first pick for the New England Patriots in the 2024 NFL Draft. You need to get a guaranteed bona fide star at the receiver position. I know people are thinking, should we take that tackle from Penn State? No. We have an unbelievable amount of cap space going into this offseason. There's got to be there will be options with offensive linemen in the offseason in free agency. So I'm looking at least Marvin Harrison Jr. as the first pick for the New England Patriots in round 1. And for me, personally, as a person who loves the SEC, I am looking at Jaden Daniels in round 2. This guy has it all. This guy has a rocket arm. He can throw downfield. He can make plays on the run, which Mac Jones cannot do, nor Bailey Zappi. He can make plays on the run. He's a smart guy. He makes good reads. That's the guy I'm looking at. That is the guy I'm looking at. And anybody who, and I'm sorry, after the collapse that we've seen from North Carolina, sorry, Drake May's out. And I personally do not trust ACC quarterbacks. Me, personally, I don't trust ACC quarterbacks. I don't like ACC quarterbacks. I don't think they've ever been successful, except for Trevor Lawrence, who's shown something. Outside of that, ACC quarterbacks have not shown me a damn thing in the past. Obviously, people are going to say, oh, but the different teams, different situations. Okay. But I'm looking at everything consistently, and I'm seeing a consistent conference that has put out average to below average quarterbacks at the best backups. My second option, honestly, it's either Michael Penix or Bo Nix. And that's me as a person who does not like Bo Nix. I've never liked him. I've never liked him at Auburn, and I don't like him at Oregon. But you know what? I'll give it to him. The guy balls out. He can throw the football. He can lead a team. Another guy, Michael Penix. The only thing I have question with him is his injury history. Outside of that, those are 3 quarterbacks I'm looking at that I'm thinking are going to be there in the second round. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you guys are feeling. Do you think we should just say screw it and just honestly just tank the rest of the way? Make it obvious? Because, I mean, the way Belichick is coaching today, I mean, I don't know if it's just the fact that we are just not that good of a football team or we are legitimately trying to lose. But let me know what you guys think. Excuse me. Don't forget to like and follow the page. More stuff is coming. Been busy lately, obviously, holiday season. But again, give me also video ideas. I'm open to doing any kind of video ideas. If you guys are down, just comment below. But obviously, again, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Obviously, doing more Patriot stuff. Gator season just ended yesterday, so doing maybe more Gator stuff going into the off season. Obviously, coming up, they're doing a kind of like a quarterly report on both the Celtics and the Bruins. So please, let me know what you guys think of this video. Thank you guys for watching. Go Pats.